Welcome to Can Angels Fly. I'm Nancy, and today I'm here to discuss a few subjects. And I know that I'm going to title this video Know. K-N-O-W. Know. Now, the term know is directly associated with Aquarius motto. So, what does that mean? What am I trying to say? We are living in the age of Aquarius. It's time to know. I am an Aquarius. Therefore, my motto is, I know. The subject of this video is about knowing. So, I'm just going to cover a couple of things in this video. It should be short, but it's relevant. As I mentioned, excuse my little squeaky chair. I might have to replace it, but I can put all my behind in it. So, don't mind me none. So in this video, we're just going to have a discussion. It'll be pretty light. I just got a few little scattered notes. And we're going to talk about the importance of knowing, to know. And it goes with all that I teach here on this channel. Just the subject itself is critical. It's critical. It's critical when it comes to tarot reading. It's critical in astrology. It's critical in life. It's critical in the spiritual realm. And what's so critical? Relative to the term or the experience of know or to know or knowing. If you know something, it can't be changed by nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing can come and change what you know. You know it because you experienced it. You are in line with it. It is your truth. So, let me make it make sense. Recently I made a video. I didn't even look up the title of the video. It was a video in which I was partaking in all my vices. I started rambling about the Mandela effect. I started rambling about the elite versus the elect. And I was prepping you for this video. So I guess we'll start with the terms elite and elect because they're important. Elect is a group, an elect, E-L-I-T-E, is a person, we'll say, that is viewed as the choice, the select, the best of the people. These are the people, or a person in the highest class. They are what you may coin entitled. The sense of entitlement. Elect. Where the did I say elect? Why do I keep doing this? I gotta get this together. I'm gonna have to start again. All that deep definition I just gave you doesn't go to elect. It goes to elite. Oh, Nancy. The elite. E-L-I-T-E. Elite. Elitist. Those that have a sense of entitlement. They're entitled. They are the creme de la creme. They are the best of all the people in the world. And they are of the highest class. Why are the elite so important? It is because they are the descendants of spiritual information that gives them the hands up on the rest of humanity. Now, let's talk about the elect, the E-L-E-C-T, the elect. Who are the elect? Well, a short definition of elect is to choose or select by a vote or to pick. Now, the elect are just people that have been chosen by the divine source, God, to basically fulfill a mission, learn something, do something. They don't even know. They're just in the dark. Like the rest of humanity, just in the dark. Nothing special about them. But for whatever reason, divine knows all. Divine elects certain people to perform certain activities, to obtain certain knowledge, and to share it with humanity. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, is that this video is about knowing, to know. Why is it so relevant to know what you know? Because if you don't know what you know wholeheartedly, then something can come through and change your perspective, change your understanding, change what you believe. An example of that is, let me see, we can go to the third house of Gemini for this example. Because the third house of Gemini, well, Gemini's model is, I think shows that a person has come by some way to think or presume that something is the case, but they're not fully confident in it yet because they haven't lived long enough or had enough life experiences or whatever the case may be to have this concrete knowing. Why is that so important? Well, because at that Gemini level, third house level, to think suggests that something can come along and persuade you or change you or lead you to change your perception. What you think. By doing what? Yeah. Presenting you with evidence to sway you one way or another. Wow. I just try to act silly to entertain you ladies and gentlemen. So, and whatever else may be out there watching me. So, just ride the wave with me and don't mind me. So, what I'd like to talk about now is something that I also talked about in that video where I was under all my vices, drinking and smoking and lottery playing and talking crap, is the Mandela effect. I covered the Mandela effect in that video just a little bit, but I'll highlight here what is the Mandela effect. It's where you think you know something, you have some knowledge about it, it's possible some time has come past, and then here comes that same subject matter again, and what you're being presented with is foreign to you, is strange, because you already think you remember that you know something, but when this new evidence is presented about that subject, you're persuaded, like, oh okay, I must have misinterpreted, I must have not have heard it, right, so, okay, now I have the information, and so whatever I just learned is the truth. But what I knew or thought I knew in the past is irrelevant because I'm doubting myself. I must have been wrong. I must have heard it wrong. Making all kind of excuses for your conscious awareness. I might have said that wrong. Anyway, this was originally, the Mandela effect was originally identified relative to Mandela. Nelson Mandela, a person that fought for apartheid or something like that. I can't remember exactly what apartheid means. I need to go back and check that. Since it seemed like Divine is about to take me through this, but okay. And anyway, some people throughout the world remember Mandela dying at a certain particular time. Then 10, 15, 20 years later, Mandela is getting out of prison and going home to his family, where he lived considerably a little while longer, then died within the confines of and embrace of his family. That was other people's memory. I personally remember Mandela dying in prison, because that's when I really, one of my moments of enlightenment, when I understood there was injustice in this world. This man is fighting for liberation and being imprisoned for being a leader, or for fighting against injustice and inequality, or whatever else he was fighting for. So when it was presented that this man was released from prison, went home to his family, and lived some years later, then died, I'm like, what is that? See, I was just learning, and that was nothing. I was just learning. Well, at that time, I didn't know. It's just been in the last few years I learned about this title, this label, this thing called Mandela effect. But it made sense to me, because I remember the man dying in the penitentiary the first time around, period. So when this new evidence was presented, I'm like, what? I just remember, what? That ain't the case. That man been died. I sat in front of the TV and watched his funeral. I was a young girl. I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. Again, I didn't know about the Mandela effect, so it couldn't cross my mind, because I didn't know about it. But what I knew, was that man had already died. And it wasn't nothing they was going to present on the TV, in a magazine, to make me doubt my own conscious awareness. Mandela effect is where we're about to go next. Relative to the significance of his existence at this point in time in the history of mankind. As I mentioned, when that second Mandela story came along about him being out and out of prison, returned to his family for some years, and then died later in the comforts of his own bed. That was the story they gave to the world. And I don't remember. I should have researched it, but I haven't. I'm not going to go through all that. I'm going to learn how to just speak here on YouTube. If y'all just, you know what I say, ride the way with me. Why that one story, that one event is more important than I think anybody is aware of. You know? People are Mandela effect crazy now. But are you really understanding what's taking place? And how it is focused on you, me, and other individuals in humanity that do not fall within that spectrum or that lineage of the elect. The elect, remember, is a special class. It's the highest class. It's those that are entitled. They are separate from this thing called the Mandela effect. So, the Mandela effect is focused on humanity, society, the elect, and I've defined elite, those folk over there, and I've defined the elect. Is the common people, is those selected from within the common man and woman to have some experiences to awaken the people. All of us over here are being exposed to the Mandela effect and other forms of trickery or spell casting in order to confuse our minds. That's why this video is titled, No. Confusing the general public's mind. In my last video, I just made, what was the title of it? I don't even know. Let me see if I can pull it up. 2-second long memory. They've been working on me for years. That's okay. They? Who is they? I don't even know. The last video I made was See Your Gift. All zodiac signs, February 22nd, 2018. That one. I spoke about the elect and the elite. So I do ask you to watch that video because it goes into detail about the significance of those terms and people that fall up under those terms. But in short, the elect are people that come from a lineage of folks that have the secrets of life, of existence. And they hand that information down from generation to generation. Where the elect are just people that are part of the general populace, and we're in the blind. We're never getting these questions answered about why we are here, who we are, what's our purpose. We never get that. The elect are those out of those people that have been selected by divine to stumble basically upon that information, the same information the elite have. It is a long, difficult journey to get this information, and you don't even know that you're getting it. So, now the Mandela effect, and what is it about? Oh, another thing I failed to say is that the Mandela effect is supposed to be associated with shifting dimensions. I can't say that I believe that we're shifting dimensions. I can't say that. The Mandela effect, again, is just a form of spell work in order to confuse the masses, the populace mind. Because if those that know this form of spell work can lead the masses, especially the elect, those chosen to find the secrets and answers, can manipulate a person's conscious awareness, what they perceive, what they believe, they will lead them to doubt themselves and doubt the knowledge that divine has been teaching them. That stuff that the elect have been like kind of tripping into, falling into, and learning and dealing with all these challenges. You know, you will get to a place, if you don't know yourself, if you're not concrete in your beliefs and in your knowing, that the Mandela effect is a way to cause a person to doubt themselves, to lack in discernment, etc., etc. Another thing that is a challenge for all people, but especially the elect, is the vices that I shared in that video. What was the name of this video? And I was talking crap. Oh, it's the elect. No, the elite or elect and the vices. I repeat, the video that I made, which I was up under my vices, smoking cigarettes and drinking and all lottery and doing all that, was called Elite or Elect and the Vices. That video. Anyway, right now I'm talking about how in that video I shared that one of the biggest threats to the elitist class, those that feel entitled, are the elect. Those handpicked by divine to stumble across the same secrets that the elitists are granted to know from the moment they come out the womb. The elect have to go through this whole process, trying process, tripping and falling into this information and having to make it make sense, because it doesn't. And so by the elect being a threat to the elite, as well as the rest of humanity has to be a threat to them, but not as big, again, as the elect. Because remember, the elect are the ones that get the information first and share it with humanity. So, from the elect and then to humanity, those that begin to absorb the message from the elect, began to see, go through that whole process themselves. The elitists are threatened. And how can I say that in short? The elitists are threatened because the masses are awakening. And once the masses are awakened, they can no longer be bamboozled. They're no longer under the thumb of like dictation or the elitist, the entitled, the dark, deep, heavy spiritual beings. No longer. So that must be stopped. Oh, no. That can't happen. It has to be stopped. And so what have I been trying to say? What have I been trying to get to? They have to cast a spell. And one of the spells that they just began with, well, it ain't just began, it's been running. And I think more or less the elect have been dealing with it for a while. And now people are awakening. So it's becoming more abundant or more obvious. And that is that Mandela effect. Confuse their minds. So that, like the elect, I know that I'm going back and forth with these terms, so it's confusing me too. But the elect, those people handpicked by divine to stumble across that information, process it, and hand it over to the rest of humanity. Those people, you got to remember, like myself, have been going through the Mandela effect for years, even before it became common. And so what has it been about? It has been about trying to lead us to doubt our experiences. Because remember, it was our experiences that got us to the secret, that got us to the place of clarity and of understanding, and then of knowing. So, the Mandela effect was created to lead us to feel like what we know wasn't true, to debunk our beliefs, to debunk what we thought. And I don't know how it worked for other elect, but for me, like I was sharing when the Mandela thing happened, I kind of had an attitude. At the time, I knew nothing about the term Mandela effect. But I mean, I guess I couldn't because it was just happening. But I was like, that doesn't even make any sense that they're going to, media, whoever, going to present something that contradicts what they presented already. That was not something that I no longer thought. It wasn't something negotiable. I knew because I experienced that moment in time when they had that man's funeral. And you know how they had to do the commentary, he was in prison and talk about his life. You know how they go through all that when major people pass away. And I remember sitting there, and like I said, it was this sense of, and this awareness of the unjustness in this world. So it made a deep emotional impact upon me. And so I couldn't deny what I knew. I knew it because I experienced it with my ears and with my eyes, and my emotions were in it. You can't take that from me. But that was the Mandela effect was created, that spell to do, to cause you to doubt yourself. So what am I saying? Oh gosh, there's so much to cover. Is that when I saw that second version of Mandela's life, or the end of his life, it was presupposed by the Creator that I and others like me would say, oh, I was wrong. So now you mean to tell me he went back with his wife? It was happily ever after. Oh, he died in his warm bed with his family around him and his followers. Oh, I was wrong. No, mother sucker, I wasn't. I already experienced it with my eyes, my ears, and my emotions. I know. Now, I went on and on and on about that Mandela effect. I want to hit it again. And I shared that this particular experience in my elite or elect and vices video. And so I want to talk about it again because I was really thinking a little deeper on this Mandela effect and just seeing how it's coming, and it comes from all different directions. You have to know. You have to know. You have to trust yourself. I gotta make another video because it'd be so much going on between life and spiritual stuff and interactions and downloads and And in that video, what was I talking about? As I was sharing my vices. One of my vices is that I play the lottery. And I have a pet number. A number I play all the time if it take my last dollar. And it's 1416. I shared in that video that I have had my own personal Mandela effect associated with that particular number. And so I'm just going to talk about how the Mandela effect has happened with that number. And it'll make sense in a minute why I'm talking about it. Okay, I wrote here. I'll say this because I don't even know what I wrote. I originally, I'm not going to tell you the whole story about how I got to that number, because that is what they call, not coincidences, what's that term? What's that label? Synchronicities. How I got to that number. Whole story. Another video. Anyway, that number, 1416, I began to play July 1st of 2009. Now, this is what I wrote. These are the different Mandela effects that I've experienced since that time up until the present. And it's just happened. That's why it's fresh in my mind. And so I'm going through that process. It says the number was originally shown to have fallen out in 1985. Therefore, 24 years had passed since it last fell out. And that happened, at the onset of me choosing that number. What am I saying in that scribble? Is that when I found that number through some synchronicities, another video, I immediately checked it in the Michigan Lottery database, the archive, to find out last time it had fell out was 1985, which was 24 years prior. I picked that number up, thinking, hey, it can't be that much longer before it fall out. Now, remember, this number, that 1416, is aligned with some synchronicities, some real deep synchronicities. It'll probably be a whole hour if I made a video. Maybe one day I'll come back and talk about that, if I can find what may be further relevant to you in your life. So, those synchronicities did not stop upon me finding that number. The synchronicities kept growing and growing and growing and growing. So I always have kept that number close to me, and I've always researched it and watched other synchronicities sprout from it. So, with that being said, I track it. I've been trying to hit this number all that time since 2009. But okay, let's go. Then, this is the next Mandela effect associated with that same number. Then the number was shown to have fallen out 2 times around June 2009. Approximately 2 weeks prior to me moving into the house I live in now. When this appeared, it was 2016. I had been playing the number for 7 years. What am I saying in that scribble? I'm saying that I originally started playing this particular number, 1416, on July 1st of 2009. Before I started playing it, I researched to look into the Michigan archives to see the frequency of the number falling, to find out it had not fallen in 24 years. I picked the number up. As I mentioned, there have been many synchronicities associated with that number. And so I still research it, keep it in, and still go back to the archives. One day, I go back to the archives to find out that it says, hey, the date that I picked it up, that number actually had fell out like 2 weeks prior, twice, before the very first day I played it. It fell twice in 2009, 2 weeks before I started playing it. That evidence was not originally there in the archives. When I first looked at it, when it said the number originally fell out in 1985. That was the last time. Okay, let me go. Let's go to the next Mandela effect associated with that same lottery number of 1416. I'm going somewhere with this, y'all, if you just ride the wave with me. Okay? It says, then in 2017, last year, the number, then in 2017, the number was reported to have fallen out twice in 2015. This was around the time that I was in the hospital. I had surgery. At that time, I had borrowed money from the lady I worked from to have my numbers put in for over a week while I was in the hospital, covering all games. During that time while I was in the hospital, I also kept track of the numbers. The number never fell out. That was in 2015. But it was in 2017 that I go back and look into the archives on that same number to find out now it's saying that it fell out 2 times in 2015. I say that again because that was the time I was in the hospital, borrowed the money and played it up in advance, kept track of the numbers. So that was the third Mandela effect associated with this number. Okay, let's go. The fourth Mandela effect associated with this number. The last report showed that the number fell out in 2017, last year. Y'all, I never missed a beat about this number. And that's a 100% lie. And it's a deep-rooted Mandela effect. Oh, yeah. I'm going to say one more thing about this number, that 1416, because it was so, like I said, it would be a whole nother hour-long video to talk about the synchronicities that brought me to the awareness of that number. That 1 in 10,000 number, that one number. That one number also creates another 32 4 digits that I had been tracking over the course of 2016 and 2017. I had a paper, and I would scratch them out as they fell. Out of the 32 sub 4 digits from that 1416, 30 of them fell, leaving 2. I went back to track those numbers again, because that was over a year and a half of tracking numbers. And so when I went back to, because I didn't write the date down, I would just strike them out. So I went back to look at dates, because the time, a whole year and a half had passed, so it's time for some of these numbers to recycle. I go back to find out that out of them 32, only 2 had been called in that year and a half, leaving 30 that were uncalled. But I tracked 30 of those sub 4 digits being called. Now, why is this important? That whole experience right there is a personal Mandela effect for me. And what is it about? It's still about manipulation of what one knows. It's manipulation about what one knows. Again, I do classify myself as part of the elect class, chosen to stumble upon and perceive and decipher and to issue information out to the rest of humanity so that we can awaken. And so, again, it's this attack. Now, that's something that most people will say, oh, that's just crazy. It's a little foolishness, you know, and it is. It's just mundane. It's devices. But I just wanted to use that example as a way to show just how deep the Mandela effect goes. It is all about causing confusion. And another thing is that the elitists are not alone. You got to watch the video called See Your Gifts I just made, and I think it's called See Your Gifts, February 22nd, 2018. That in that video, it talks about how the elitists, gained their knowledge of the secrets, God's secrets. And so in that information, it's revealed that the elitists in this world, in this physical realm, are not alone. They have divine or spiritual support. And so what I'm saying is that, what am I trying to say? Is that the attack that is happening to us has few boundaries, is what I'm really trying to say. It has few boundaries. And it will come in something as simple as a cereal box, candy bar, a movie, a verse from a movie, a verse in the Bible, or your own personal lottery number. It can go deep, because remember, this is a spell. This is magic. We're talking about, people always want to know magic. Here are some of the magics that's happening around us that we can't tell. We haven't been able to tell, but now is the age of Aquarius. We know. And so what am I saying? It's time to sit down and reflect upon what you know. It may be the strangest thing. Maybe nobody believes you. But if you know you had the experience, that's yours, and you hold it. That is a part of the puzzle. It is a secret, you know. You have to safeguard it, is what I'm saying. Another thing, I'm going to tell you about another trick. And where knowing really is critical. We are working in the spirit and the physical. You always hear me say this. I've gone through this too. Or I've been through some things. Is that sleep time. When you are sleeping, you can be infiltrated by what can we term it, or entities. Those entities are the same entities that brought that information to the elitists. Those people. So you got the elitists, the people in the physical body in this realm that are affecting this realm. But then you have spiritual beings that gave the information that the elitists used to manipulate this realm. Well, those spirits are still in the ethereal realm. I talk about that in the video. See Your Gift. And they busy too. They are busy with their hands here. And how do they infiltrate us? They infiltrate in your dreams and in your imaginations. Note, it is important for you to know what? Your self-worth, your values, what you will do, what you will not do, and what you stand for. Things like that. Because those entities will infiltrate your dreams and lead you to think something. Try to place a thought inside of your mind, inside of your consciousness. You wake up and you go to perform that act or to do that thing or say something, whatever they may implant. And if you don't know who you are and what you stand for, your values and your morals and your self-worth, you may go ahead and partake in whatever that suggestion has been. It's coming from the spiritual realm, through your dream life or your imagination, your subconscious. But if you know, not think, but know, not perp, but know who you are, your morals, and your values, then when you go to perform, say, a certain act, your morality, that which you know, is going to have you stop because you won't be able to move forward with it without questioning yourself or second guessing yourself like, that ain't what I do. Let me pull back from that. Because you'll start to feel uncomfortable in yourself when you go to make that suggested move. Why do I bring that up? That's spookism. It is because we are in a time now in the history of humanity where it is time for us to awaken. It's time for us to see how we have been bamboozled. And there are entities that exist that don't want us to awake. Why? They lose control, number one. That's all right. And so, in order to keep you from awakening, those dark entities, whatever you want to, we're gonna find a title for them. We're gonna categorize everything so we can know. We can pull out that box and label whenever we need to and all be on the same page. But if they can manipulate your mind, your thought pattern, how you perceive, then they don't have to worry about you seeing clearly, because you don't know what you're seeing or what you're perceiving, if it's true or not, because you personally don't know you, your morals, your values, your self-worth, This is all so important. Now I want you to watch this, because this is going to play out in your personal life too, as well as globally, as you interact with the world. All this is going on simultaneously, folks. I'm telling you, it's deep. And it's one of the things I want to speak of so that you will have somewhat of a historical reference to how long this has been going on and how it's been building over time, and the significance of things. Some things we don't understand how they're significant. But I'm going to give you an example here so you'll know. Let's go back to the assembly line. You know what the assembly line is. I think it was Henry Ford that made the assembly line powerful, or made it basically infamous in history, in the history of humanity. His assembly line, Ford assembly line, making cars. There was a significance related to that assembly line. Now we say, hey, it was so he could produce more cars, make more money, get it done more effectively. That was true too, as far as business. But the truth of the matter is, as far as the development of humanity, the assembly line was created. See, we got to go back. I got to say this. I can't finish this video without saying this. We got to go back to that video called See Your Gifts, where I talk about the opening of Pandora's box. See, even the assembly line was one of those gifts out of Pandora's box. And so the assembly line was one of those gifts that popped out of Pandora's box. Yes, it helped us advance in technology and production, business, but it also has a darker side attached to our spiritual thing. Whole nother video. This thing is longer than I wanted it to be. And what is that? The assembly line, let's say an assembly line had 50 people on it. Each person, or maybe two, are in different positions along the assembly line. How can I say this? Assembly line. Let's put one person. One person on each part of the line, each section of the line. 50 sections, 50 individuals. One person running each sector or section of that assembly line. Each person doing a different job. Final outcome, what did Ford make? I don't know. A Ford Murata. I don't know. It was a Mercury Murata. I don't know. Ford car at the end. Starts with parts. Now a plan. The parts being put together. And then a final outcome at the end. That Ford vehicle. Do you understand that not one of those employees along that conveyor belt, that assembly line, knows the complete plan of that car? They don't know the intricate details of it. What does that mean? A lack of mastery. This is another way that different businesses or corporations keep their secrets. Let's say you are part of the assembly line that works in a candy shop, and there are 50 ingredients into one sweet treat. Each person does their job in that section, on that part of the sweet treat. But that final treat that goes into that box that the public buys, nobody knows all the ingredients. Why? Because they're only over one portion. One person does sugar, one person does flour, one person does vanilla, and whatever else is in there, and whatever else is in there, nobody knows. The only way that secret can be known is if all 50 people come up under or in the room with one cause, and that's to expose the ingredient and the percentage of each ingredient in that one sweet treat, and to teach each other the other 49 aspects of putting that one item together. That is the only way a person becomes a master. To become a master, you must know a subject matter from the beginning, the forethought, the vision, and know every section and every work done into that particular thing. You got to be able to take it from the vision to the outcome, to the finished product, to be a master. So, why was I talking about that? Rambling on, 46 minutes in. I'm talking about the different techniques that we have not looked at as magic or manipulation. The assembly line is a form of manipulation. It did come out of Pandora's box. You got to watch that video called See Your Gift to understand what I'm saying about Pandora's box. But it has stopped humanity from being masters. And so, oh my goodness, it's so much to do. I wish I could do it all in one video. But what I do, I ask your favor. I ask your favor. And I'm going to ask this for a while. I guess I don't know if I'm boring. I don't know. I don't think I am. Anyway, Mandela effect too. I'm just rambling. Anyway, I'm just going to ask you to share my videos, a video, with someone you know. I'm just interested in expanding my channel. I've been at 7,700 subscribers for 2 years. Something's wrong with that. But again, I do know who I am. I am an elect. So, okay. I'm trying to stay calm about this, y'all. But I feel some type of way. Anyway, I ask you to share at least one of my videos with somebody that you care for, you know. And I ask you to come back and tune in. I also ask you to subscribe. Until next time. Oh, well, I guess I got to close it. What was this really all about? Well, this was about the significance and the importance of knowing. To know. Know. Don't let nobody lead you to doubt your own senses. No. Thank you for coming to Can Angels Fly and talking about what it means to know and the importance of it. Until next time. Bye.